I'm happy to see you. This is my colleague from the Arduino club, Micke Askernäs.
Hello. Hello. Very nice to see so many here.
Great. Yeah, it's pretty crowded. Did we have to leave somebody outside? So jemand draußen?
Achso, einige sind noch draußen, aber es ist ja voll.
Okay. Great, perfect. Let me. Hello, Artu. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. Okay, guys, this is experimental. I don't really know if it's going to work, but we're going to start with it anyway. How many of you have been to the Droid Building 101 yesterday? Okay, perfect. So you know the basic makeup of a droid, and now we're here to tell you something about how to really make a droid shine from an electronics point of view. You want automation, you want something that really looks great, you don't want just something that drives, and we may have the answer for you. So let me try. Hello R2. Enter demonstration mode. Enter demonstration mode. Please follow me. Please follow me. Works every time at home. Please follow me. Please follow me. Okay, I guess we'll skip this part of the demonstration because it's obviously not reacting to my voice commands. We'll just see why that would be. Please follow me. Please follow me. Oh, here we go. Come on. You see I'm not remote controlling it? Please say hi to the audience. Yeah, he's a bit shy. Please open the hatch for me. No, the other hatch. No, the other hatch, dummy. No, the other hatch, dummy. Thank you. Okay, and since we thought it's kind of a no-brainer running the presentation of a laptop when we can run it off R2, we'll just do it like this. Now, our presentation consists of two parts. The first one is advanced electronics for astromech droids, and the second one is autonomous droiding or autonomous robotics with a droid. So the first part is held by Micke. Micke, please, your stage.
Thank you. So my name is Micke Askernäs. I am from Sweden, and I like robots. That's my droid standing over there. He has a pretty advanced inside with about 7 different computers. Unfortunately, on the drive down here from Sweden, something shook loose and fried my receiver motherboard. So right now he's a blinking, pretty paperweight. I'm going to talk about what I have done and what we have done. So if you talk about normal computers, the bare minimum to get a droid running is essentially to run a normal radio controller as you would a normal radio controlled car or radio controlled airplane in this case, and a simple electronics board. Now, this is not as advanced as it looks, because we can immediately just disregard 3 of the items on this picture. This is just to make sure that all the different parts get the correct current. Okay, so this has nothing to do with getting the Droid moved. This is just a fuse box because I am paranoid sometimes. If something would short circuit, I would rather a fuse would blow than my Droid burn up. That's just the thing. I put in 1,500 hours, so, and that's 10 euros, so I figured, yeah, that's... And this thing is just to run power up to the dome. So really, for the bare minimum to run a Droid radio control out of this, you need the receiver, just put a cable. This controls both drive motors. This controls the head motor. And these are things you buy off the shelf on an electronic store, on hobby stores. And that's all you need to have a Droid running on radio operated, interacting with people, if you will. Combine that with a simple USB Bluetooth speaker inside, and you can run sounds off your smartphone. And you have a Droid that looks, yeah, but you totally control it. You have to control everything it does. If someone comes up to you and says, hello R2, you need to take up your phone and say, okay, hang on, where does it make him go? Happy sound, no, okay, there's the happy sound. It's not really what I like. I think this, in fact, is quite boring. So what we're going to talk about is advanced electronics, which is totally different things. Because with the more advanced electronics, you have more options. With more options for your Droid, you can make it come alive. Because for me, having the Droid, I hate it when my Droid is standing right now, static, inoperative. Because to make R2-D2 come alive, he's a character. He has to move, he has to interact with people. He has to drive up to pretty girls and go, they love that. So I started by doing something created by a guy called Micke in the US. We started something called the R-Series controller. It was supposed to be a modular design, a fairly simple thing, but it would allow you to do so much more. The original design used something called the I2C bus, and for those into the DIY, the do-it-yourself electronics, it's essentially two wires which communicate with all the different devices. All the different devices inside are like small standalone islands. As long as you power them individually, like I have a small computer up here in the dome controlling the lights. The main power in my Droid is switched off right now. But since I have a specific battery just to power this small computer in the brain, up here up in the head, it will still run all these electronics because it's a standalone thing. And with this I2C bus, you can have all these different standalone islands of intelligent electronics communicate with each other. So, key to this in my Droid is something called the XBs. It's essentially a Wi-Fi transmitter thing. This is the XB Pro. It should have a range up to, I think it is like 200 or 300 meters really. I have tried this standing up on my balcony, driving my Droid down in the street. That was fun. The kids were just looking around, who the hell is running this in the area? Which is really why I like it. This is the first part of this. It looks slightly different. It has a Wiimote control up there, has a small touch screen, and so some sort of custom electronics built on an Arduino mega computer, and that's just a hand controller. So I have one computer on my arm, I have one computer inside for the receiver, I have one computer running these lights, I have one computer running those lights, I have two computers running sound, and that's just small Arduino computers. Small, different poles that all communicate to this I2C bus. I just have to send one signal to essentially tell R2, okay, now be happy, and if I could have shown you, I would have. He would have been jiggling around and played a happy sound, because that's one of the big things R2 is for me. This is my new electronics board. I've taken away the fuse box, I've taken away the power thing, because I couldn't fit them. So everything here has to do with the brain of my Droid. Now you can't see from this picture, because these circuit boards here, it's actually stacked 3 circuit boards high. So this is running sound, main sound, this is running motor sounds. This is the actual receiver, which just tells the motor controllers here to do whatever they should do. It's a little bit more advanced, so you can see that it's actually quite thick. It's all, except for the Arduinos, hand soldered, and I hate soldering. So it's a lot of work, but it's actually quite easy, and that's the whole key. You don't have to make advanced droid control difficult, which is why the system came up. These boards have already been made. So if anyone wants to build a droid and have advanced controls, well, we're a club. We do this because it's fun. We don't do this because we make money. So ordering the circuit boards, we pay whatever it costs to make them. And then we go, okay, you need these boards? Fine, okay. And then you get a nice list. You need to buy all these 250, 300 components, and you order them wherever you want to order them. DK, Conrad, the wherever. And then you have to sit down and solder. You have to put in the work. But you get something that is fairly advanced. This was my first new controller, which I liked a lot better than the old Spectrum. May I borrow it for a second? This is what it looks like. When I was driving around my road with this one, people looked around and, gee, I wonder who's controlling the droid. Didn't even fool the kids. This one, still not fooling the kids. But it was better. It allowed me to have a touch-sensitive screen up here. It allowed me to control the driving, the movement, and some of the sounds with the Wiimotes. Just from the Nintendo Wii. When I hopped on the Askernäs project, I'm on there now as one of the developers. We had the menu system that which I had to scroll through 7 pages and try and pinpoint a small line of text to get to the reaction I wanted. So it's no better than actually the smartphone and look for the happy sound. Where's the happy sound? Oh, there it is. So this was the menu when I had it. So to scroll down 7 pages, some of these things I don't even have, so I figured, well, this is a good idea, but it can be done better. First step, build a new menu system. 9 different buttons, easy. Remove the stuff I didn't use. Make sure I know what's happening when you press something. Because that was also another thing. Okay, I pressed, does it respond? I don't know, because there was no feedback whatsoever on the display. I changed that. I eventually came up with something which I call the ultimate stealth controller for the Wii Nunchuck, because I really liked it when people had no idea I was driving the Droid. I call this the Tuscan, the W there on the side. I'm no longer using a normal controller for my robot. Let me see if I have mine here. Normally, when I drive around my robot, I control each and everything with it using only this. This is a wireless Wii Nunchuck remote. It's pretty bad. It's not very good. It has very bad resolution. But with this, I'm controlling right now 27 different events, different sounds, and I have complete control. If I want my robot to play Hello Message, which is Help Me Björn Kenobi, You're My Only Hope, I just press the button down, the top button down, and pull joystick left. It will play that sound every time. Now, I have this in my pockets, in my bulky jacket. I have my other phone, hand up with my phone, filming the Droid, just like everyone else is doing, and no one has any clue who's controlling this robot. And I can still interact 100% with it. Kid walks up and it goes, hello R2D2, and it goes, and then they go, who the hell did that? This is, to me, what really makes R2D2. This is what makes him come alive. You don't see, it's no longer a prop, it's a character, it's a person. And it really, the look you get on people's faces when they have no idea who's controlling it. It's a lot of fun. Just to go through, I'm a programmer. I've done all sorts of weird things. Just to give you an idea of what my thinking was to combine 2 buttons and 1 directional joystick to control right now 27 different events. The next version that I'm writing, I can control 100 different events with just this. It's all about multi-touch, really. So I have the top button, second button, and the joystick. And there we go. So essentially what happens is that I just put on a flowchart on how this is going. So I press the top button. At first I see, do I click it or do I hold it? Okay, I mean, there's a difference between click and hold. Click is just this, hold is when I push it down for a little while. I need to push it down for more than half a second for it to be a hold, otherwise it's just a click. So if I click it, it just plays a random sound, and then it goes back to the beginning again. So just click random sound, click random sound, click random sound. Very easy, so it really doesn't do anything. But it's when I start holding down buttons, things get interesting. So if I hold down the top button, you hold it down, yes, it says 2 seconds there, but that was the first version, half a second now. And it checks, is there direction pressed? Did I press forward, back, left, or right while holding down the button? If it's yes, I have forward, backwards, left, and right. So I have 4 different responses programmed into however I do this. And that's just the top button. I have the same thing with the lower button as well, and when both buttons are pressed at the same time. So just by taking this times 3, I have 12 different events. But I want to take it a step further. So when I held the button down and held it for about 2 seconds, it just gives me a small beep. It just goes doo-doo, and that means I get access to a totally new set of events the same way. So by using the same motion, if I just push forward, the droid goes forward. If I just click the button, it plays a random sound. If I push the joystick forward and it's driving and I click, play random sound. If I hold, press forward, makes one event. If I hold, wait, then press forward, it's a different event. So you can really see that the way I grew up, it opens up so many different ways that you can actually do this, so many things you can control. Yes, Björn, you have a question?
Did you bring the cheat sheet that you had yesterday? Do you have all this mapped out?
I have it all in my head because I put it very logically. In my head, I put the top button and direction, it just plays happy sounds, different happy sounds. I have the bottom button, it plays angry sounds. For instance, bottom button forward, he screams, bottom backwards, he has the system failure sounds. Both buttons, direction, he starts playing music. So it's there's a cheat sheet that I made, and it's fairly easy. I made it so it's easy for me anyway. This is what I started with. And then I realized, well, this is good, but what can you really do? It gives me a lot of control, but sometimes when you are driving, you cannot do these things because you drive the droid, but you still want him to interact. I participate in different events, and when you drive, for instance, in a droid parade, I still want him to do stuff. I still want him to be R2, not just I'm a machine moving forward. So I started working on the future of this. I have no more slides because I was supposed to be demonstrating, and like I said, my receiver board fried on the way down, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit of the evolution of this. The next step, the next evolution, is to build in different moods inside of him. R2-D2 is an interactive character, yes, which means that the more you interact with him, the happier he will be. The more prone to actually do what you want him to do, he will be. So if you leave him alone, he will get cranky. And another thing, so when I was driving around with him, and I just drive him, he waits 5 seconds, and if I haven't done anything with him, he starts humming. Just moving his head around, looking at people, and I'm not doing anything. It's just one of the behavioral things that I put into him, because when R2 is driving, he is looking around, and when I'm driving the droid, I want my focus to be, where is he going? I do not want my 45-kilo droid running over a 3-year-old. So I do not want to have to bother about moving the head about or triggering sounds while I'm driving. I just want to focus on the driving, and I leave the rest up to R2. That's some of the ideas behind it. And when it's standing there, if you activate the mood mode, if you will, if you don't do anything with him, he will start, whistling and basically go, "Hey, I'm here. Talk to me." And if you don't do anything, he will actually go all these angry sounds, just because that makes R2 so much better. This is in a way controlled mayhem, because when you let R2 decide a little bit on which mood he's in, you have really no idea what he's going to do or not to do, and that to me is a lot about the character. Before you ask, I had no idea even to hook up the simplest electronic thing on this computer, on this R2. I had no idea. Well, I want to build an R2. I have no idea just to make him run with a normal controller like this. I just started with this. Someone told me, you need to buy this, and you need to buy a motor controller, and I go, okay, what's that? And they told me, okay, this is the one you buy, okay? And I got them, and I just realized that the only thing I needed to do, I just need to hook up the cables. That one there, that one there, that one there, and I go, that's it. And that's where the whole thing started. Just by doing that, just by daring to go in there and doing something I've never done before, I had him running after about 14 months of building, and now I'm 2 years into building, but now my build is much more on the inside, much more to have, well, making a lot more fun, if you will. So that's what I want to talk about, control. Does anyone have any questions about control or controlling the droid or anything? Yes, sir.
When you say, thank you very much, great presentation, when you talk about you say you have a computer in the head and you have a computer in the body, what do you mean by computer? Do you mean a printed circuit board, or do you mean a computer that has all of the things that we would know as a computer?
It's a good question. What I base this on, is a small mini computer, prototyping computer called the Arduino. So I have an Arduino Uno, which is called up here. I have one Arduino Uno controlling these. The two computers controlling the sounds are also Arduino Unos. And for the receiver and control, there's an Arduino Mega, has more.
So there's a similar unit called a Raspberry Pi.
But they're
is it similar or is it different?
Different. They're a lot simpler.
I got a slide comparing the different computers.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But essentially, it's stuff you can buy on I think here in Germany you can buy them on Conrad.de, you buy them on Amazon.com. I think an Arduino Uno computer is programmed basically with a version of C. Very easy to do if you have any programming language. And it costs, I don't know, 15 euros maybe, depending on what, 12 to 15 euros. So it's a cheap version. You just connect the cables, inputs, outputs, and it's fairly easy if you just start with. I had no idea what to do when I started. I just hooked it up and okay, here's a demo program. Get a small LED blinking on the motherboard, and I did that, and I go, okay, now what? Yes.
Approximately how much would you have already written for the firmware for this Arduino?
Well, when I jumped on the R-Series project, the first thing I did was I rewrote the entire receiver protocol because I wanted my droid to be safe. Before I did that, when the controller that I had on my arm lost contact with the receiver in the robot, he just kept on going, which is a bad thing. Then I realized that, well, sometimes some of these packages that get sent doesn't really get received well, and then you get in the computer business what you call a packet loss. You get an unknown package, which in this case, all the values that was received in the receiving end were zeros. Okay, well that doesn't sound too bad, unless when you look at what the motor controller does, the zero value for a motor controller is 90, because it goes to 0 to 180. It's like a servo thing. So if it actually turns out 0, it means that one engine will be spinning full speed one direction, the other engine is spinning full speed the other direction. First thing that happened, I made a hole in my living room wall. I'm happy I was at home, not so much my wife, but I'm happy this was not at an exhibition where there was people around. So I sat down, and the first thing I do that, well, I want the whole thing to be safe. If it loses control, first of all, if there's a packet loss, don't do anything. Stop. Second, if it actually loses total connection between the receiver and the controller, it will stop, it will lock down. And it will not move again until they have connection. And that was one of the key elements that I wanted to bring to the whole program. I wanted it to be safe. I wanted to be in control as much as I could.
So develop your own protocol.
Yeah, well, I use existing protocols, but the code that I wrote, I have no idea. I have 20,000 lines so far and counting, just on everything, I think. Estimating.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry for running out of time. Yes?
How much money did you spend in this droid?
Do you mean just the electronics or the entire droid?
The entire.
Okay, is my wife around? Fortunately, she's not. She's back home in Sweden, so I can actually say this number out loud. In euros, roughly, slightly less than 1,000 euros. No, I'm kidding. You need to add a zero to that. About 10,000 euros, roughly, is what it costs. The aluminium part that I have in my droid, it's not something you buy off the shelf. You have to have people make them for you with CNC lathes and mills and all that, because you can't buy these things. You can't just go to the tooling store and say, okay, I want to have one of these things that look like a center bend, and they go, what? It's a good thing now we know a lot more about just the physiology of art, and this, which is called the restraining bolt, is actually part of the camera objective, if you look at it that way, which of course no one had any idea for 30 years what it was. But that's a different talk that we're going to do tomorrow about computer parts. Any other questions about the control before I hand over to Björn and relinquishing control? Yes?
Which kind of programming language do you use? C or Java?
I use C. C, C++ is what the Arduino uses, but it's very similar to the Java anyway. But the beauty about the Arduino is if you know about C, you don't have to worry so much about memory or garbage collection, which is a very, very nice thing. It's a very simple program. Essentially, it's just a setup phase, which just sets the parameters, and then there's a loop, a continuous loop that just keeps on going until it
So
reaches.
the thread is already implemented by a framework you use?
Sorry?
The loop thread is already implemented by a framework you use?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
The Arduino.